Hello my fellow weebs. After all the fiesta that happened in the past 2 days of chapter 261 in Jujutsu Kaisen leaks and spoilers, today we will be talking in details and reviewing everything together on what just happened on the latest chapter. JJ again managed to troll all the entire internet and pull the unthinkable on all the fans and theories that came out trying to figure out what was going to happen after we saw Gojo's ghost. Without further ado, let's talk about all the crazy things that just happened in Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 261. The chapter starts with Yuji deciding that he will crush Sukuna's heart. Yuji remembers Choso's sacrifice for him when he got caught in Sukuna's Fuga fire, and it shows really how frustrated and Yuji is, and how much he is fed up with Sukuna's killing spree. As we know from the last chapter how Choso sacrificed himself actually to protect his younger brother, Yuji. Then as soon as Sukuna chants domain expansion, he sees Gojo standing, and in disbelief Sukuna wonders if it really is him. He says it's really impossible because he knows that he finished him with his word-cutting slash, but the moment he sees the scar on Gojo's forehead, he knew instantly what is going on. Sukuna realizes who it is and punches away Yuji as he smiles and hysterically laughs and apologizes for underestimating YOTTA OKKUTSU. And yeah guys, this is basically really high praise from Sukuna to Yuta, admitting that Yuta was really going all the way down and throwing away his humanity by taking over his late sensei's corpse to finish Sukuna. And from this we can conclude and actually very much confirm that this is really sad for Gojo's fan and the people who wanted him back so bad, because this confirms that Gojo is truly dead and there is no doubt anymore about him ever coming back. And personally, I really don't think there is a reason for him coming back into the story, especially because he kinda completed his arc and got the fight he wanted with Sukuna and tested himself and served his purpose in the story. So yeah, this is basically much crazy news as we now know who the ghost was. It wasn't really Gojo, but it was Yuta inhabiting Gojo's body. I know it is crazy, but we will talk about it more in the video and how Yuta was able to manage this and do this body swap. Then we go into a flashback of everyone discussing a certain plan, where Maki basically objects to this plan, but Hakari agrees and has only one condition to it. And basically this condition is they will do the plan, but only if everyone is wiped out, and basically it will be a last resort and a last attempt to finish off Sukuna. So yeah, then we learn from Panda that basically that was the plan is, which to have Yuta decides to have Rika to devour the dead body of Kenjaku and copy his curse technique. And this is basically how Yuta was able to obtain the ability to swap bodies from Kenjaku's technique, as we all know that Yuta is able to use Rita by devouring the body or any piece of the user to obtain his curse technique and be able to copy it for a period of 5 minutes. So what happened was Yuta got Kenjaku's body, copied his curse technique, and then swapped to Gojo's body. Then Kusakabe asked the question that I asked personally, which is why Yuta wouldn't just copy the limitless technique and copy the 6 eyes and be done with it. Why does he have to go through all of this? Well, the reason why is, as Shoko said, that you really can't copy the limitless and use it because it is impossible to manage it without the 6 eyes. At the same time, copying the 6 eyes is impossible because it is not a technique, it is a physical attribute that you can only get through natural born, like Satoru Gojo. Maki points out a very important point, which is Yuta can only copy a curse technique for 5 minutes. So what will happen to Yuta after it? And Yuta of course doesn't know, which is true. Nobody knows what will happen to Yuta's soul after 5 minutes of Kenjaku's curse technique copy is finished. Will he be able to return back to his body? Will he remain in Gojo's body forever, or will he just die after the 5 minutes is done? That's where Meimei intervenes and suggests 3 possible outcomes. The first outcome is Kenjaku's ability require constant activation, so Yuta will 100% die after 5 minutes is finished, because if he isn't able to keep on activating it, the body will just die. Or the second option, which is Kenjaku's ability is activated intermittently, which will cause Yuta to die as well, because it will be just a matter of time when the body is out of curse technique. And the craziest part is the third option, which is Kenjaku's ability only requires a one-time activation. That means Yuta will be able to live in Gojo's body forever. Yeah guys, I really don't know how to feel about this. Is JJ cooking again or is he trolling us? And of course Kusakabe points out that this is actually a good plan, but he is a little bit worried, and he's worried about what's going to happen to Yuta after taking over Gojo's body. This is where Yuta shouts out and shows that he's accepting that he's going to fight versus the strongest sorcerer in history. So throwing away his humanity or anything of that sort is the least of his concern. And I kinda agree with him, because to be honest, if they lose this fight versus Sukuna, then all the efforts and sacrifices are basically gone, including Satoru Gojo to waste, and Sukuna will just get to slaughter every last one of them. Maki tries to calm down Yuta by saying that's not the case, it's just that we are really concerned about you and you are very important to us. And Yuta snaps and says that Gojo was really important to them as well, and we have been pushing all of this burden on Gojo becoming a monster alone, and making him throwing away his humanity as well. As Kenjaku said, that Gojo is the best when he fights alone, as he doesn't have to worry about any collateral damage and goes all out. That's where Yuta says we really have to take over Gojo's spot if he dies, and if really no one intends on becoming a monster, then I'm taking up the place and I will be one. And this is basically really showing the character development of Yuta, where no one would have ever thought that this shy kid at the beginning is able to grow this much and able to throw it all the way down to get the job done. I really love Yuta, man. I really love this character. The scene switches to Yuta telling Gojo that he will take over his body if he dies, as Gojo asks them, why are you being pissed? Which is really nice, showing that Yuta is actually really caring about Gojo and he really doesn't want this plan to end up happening, because he doesn't want to take over his body. And of course Gojo's reply is that he's just confident in himself and really not intending of losing to Sukuna. And even if he dies, he still can take over his body because he just doesn't care what happens to it after that. We see then Gojo asking his students to go away because he really doesn't want them to see a very bloody side of him, especially since he doesn't know what he's about to do is right or not. What he means by that is Gojo is going to kill all the corrupted higher ups of Jujutsu world and going to make sure that Gaku Kanji will take charge in case of Gojo's losing. The scene switches to Amai explaining his curse technique, which is basically amplifying the sugar within himself and output it in some kind of jello or some sweets. And Shoko asks him if he can transfer blood sugar to others, and I will explain in a second why this was as well very important. Then we get the explanation to what happened to Yuta after he got caught by Sukuna when he was teleported away by Wiwi. Arata tries to heal him and seal any further damage because he noticed that Yuta got split in two just like Gojo's, and it is already beyond Arata's help or Yuta's reverse curse technique capabilities. And the only way that Yuta barely survived and maintained consciousness is thanks to Rita's help, but he is already at his limit and needs to swap to Gojo's body as soon as possible. Shoko tells Yuta that she just finished Gojo's body so he can't transfer now, but the moment he swaps he really needs to use RCT to X-max output to help recover the body. And this further confirms that Satoru Gojo is never coming back, as Shoko just finished stitching his body and she understands that he is 100% fully dead, as his soul already not there and left. That's why Yuta is able to inhabit his body. And this is why Shoko asked Amai if he can transfer the sugar to others, so Amai can back up Yuta once he swaps to Gojo's body to help really fully recover it. And this is the most hyped moment of the chapter, back to the present, where both Sukuna and Yuta in Gojo's body both open their domain. The chapter ends in both Sukuna's malevolent shrine and Yuta using Gojo's unlimited void. And sadly the next week is a break. This is very frustrating, and yeah, the chapter ends in another cliffhanger. It is crazy and just keeps everyone confused, hyped and stressed to what's going to happen next. I hope JJ will cook something really nice, and I highly suspect that we will soon get to see Yuji's domain expansion, which probably will be just broken as shit. And yeah, this is basically the full analysis and review of chapter 261 of Jujutsu Kaisen. If you liked the video and enjoyed it, please drop a like and a sub, and take care of yourself.